Hey everyone, and welcome back. We've all done it, dug around online, or maybe even pulled out one of those dusty old family medical books looking for home remedies.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
is there really something to a turmeric latte?
Right.
Or is ginger tea just a placebo? We've all been there.
Exactly. And, judging by the stack of articles you sent our way from trusty sources like Healthline, WebMD, even Medical News Today, it seems like you're just as curious as we are about which home remedies really hold up to, actual science.
Yeah, it's like everyone's searching for that sweet spot where ancient wisdom meets modern research.
And getting to dive into all of this with you has been so interesting because honestly, sometimes the line between a legit remedy and an old wives' tale can feel pretty blurry.
Oh, for sure. And, the thing is, people have relied on these remedies for generations, passed them down, so there must be something there, right? Like some kernel of truth.
Right, and it's not just about proving grandma right, although that's always a plus. This is about potentially transforming how we think about healthcare. Imagine if we could address chronic pain or anxiety, not just with pharmaceuticals, but with, ingredients from the grocery store.
Now, that's an exciting thought. But that's also why this research is so important. We need to move past just anecdotes and really understand the science behind these remedies, how they work, if they're safe, the whole 9 yards. Which brings us to, the poster child for this whole movement, turmeric.
Turmeric.
Yeah.
Honestly, it feels like everyone and their mother is adding turmeric to everything these days.
Right. Golden lattes, supplements, you name it. But is it all hype? Or is there actual scientific weight behind those golden lattes?
Right, I love a good curry, but is a sprinkle of turmeric really gonna make a difference?
Well, that's where those Healthline studies come in. Remember those? They compared turmeric, specifically curcumin, which is the active compound, to actual anti-inflammatory drugs. And get this, in some cases, curcumin was just as effective, head-to-head with the pharmaceuticals, and turmeric held its own.
And that's what I'm talking about. So we're not just talking about adding some flavor to our food, we're talking about potentially significant pain relief, especially for chronic conditions like arthritis.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so fascinating. This isn't just your grandma's spice rack anymore, but there's a but here.
Oh, there's always a but, isn't there?
Well, the thing is, to get those potent doses used in the studies, you'd have to eat turmeric by the spoonful, probably. Enjoying it in your food is great, don't get me wrong. But for consistent therapeutic benefits, a high-quality supplement might be something to look into.
Okay, that makes sense. So my daily turmeric latte isn't gonna cut it.
Well, it's a step in the right direction for sure. And hey, here's a fun fact from Healthline. Sprinkle a little black pepper in that latte. It actually helps your body absorb the curcumin better.
Wait, really? Black pepper, that's amazing. See, this is what I love about these deep dives. It's all about uncovering these little nuggets of wisdom. And speaking of surprising discoveries, let's talk about chili peppers. Now, I love spicy food as much as the next person, but pain relief, that definitely wasn't on my chili pepper bingo card.
Right. It does seem kind of counterintuitive. You think spice, you think fire, you think pain, not the other way around. But it turns out it's the capsaicin, that compound that makes chilies hot, that's doing the heavy lifting here.
So it's like fighting fire with fire.
In a way, yeah. It's actually pretty cool how it works. So the capsaicin, it creates that initial burning sensation, right? But then, get this, it actually desensitizes your nerves, leading to a numbing effect.
So you trick the pain receptors into kind of giving up.
Exactly. It's like they get overloaded and tap out. And the fact that there's actually a prescription medication, Quitensa, that's based on capsaicin really speaks volumes about its effectiveness.
Oh, that's right. I remember reading about those capsaicin patches in one of the articles. I think it was Healthline, but those are prescription only, right?
They are, yeah. But for the DIYers out there, there's even a recipe for homemade capsaicin cream.
Okay, hold on. As someone who's maybe rubbed their eyes after chopping chili peppers, this sounds a little dangerous. Proceed with extreme caution, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to be careful. Capsaicin is potent stuff, no doubt. Even Healthline, when they shared the recipe, they were very clear about being extremely cautious, avoid your eyes, any sensitive areas at all costs, wear gloves. This isn't something to mess around with.
Duly noted. I think I'll leave that one to the professionals.
Hey.
On a slightly milder note, let's talk about ginger for a sec. Now, ginger is something I feel a bit more comfy experimenting with at home. I mean, ginger ale for an upset stomach, it's practically a rite of passage. But when you mentioned its anti-inflammatory properties, that's when things got really interesting for me.
Right. It's often overlooked, but ginger is a powerhouse. And what's really interesting is how it tackles inflammation. So unlike, say, over-the-counter pain relievers, ginger works on multiple levels.
Oh, so it's like a multi-pronged attack.
Exactly. So it actually blocks those pesky inflammatory compounds from even forming in the first place, kind of like building a wall. And then on top of that, it goes in and helps break down any existing inflammation with its antioxidant power.
So a 1-2 punch against inflammation. Man, ginger really is the gift that keeps on giving. This could be a real game changer, especially for people looking for alternatives to traditional painkillers. And speaking of natural approaches, our deep dive also unearthed some fascinating stuff about remedies for, well, our mental and emotional well-being.
Oh, absolutely. That's something we could all use a little help with sometimes, right?
100%. Because, let's be real, in today's world, who couldn't use a little more zen? And it turns out our gut, our microbiome, plays a much bigger role in our overall well-being than we might think, even affecting things like our mood.
Exactly. It's all connected. And both WebMD and Healthline, they actually highlighted peppermint as a potential superstar when it comes to soothing digestive issues, things like IBS, which can really impact your mental state.
Peppermint, is there anything it can't do? I always have peppermint tea on hand for when my stomach feels off, but it's not just about a happy belly, is it? It goes deeper, affecting our minds and how we feel emotionally, too.
You got it. And, you know, it's not limited to just tea. We also came across peppermint oil capsules as an option, maybe helpful for those who want a more, concentrated approach. And then there's lavender, the ultimate chill-out champion. Healthline talked about it potentially helping with migraines, anxiety, and just your run-of-the-mill stress.
Lavender is the best. Just the smell of it instantly makes me feel calmer. I'm a huge fan of lavender essential oil.
Oh yeah, lavender essential oil is amazing. A few drops in a diffuser, and it's like an instant spa day.
Exactly. Although I always try to be mindful when using essential oils, like, are there any precautions we should keep in mind?
Yeah. Good point. Essential oils, they might be natural, but they're also super potent. Dilution is key, especially if you're putting them on your skin. I know Healthline was big on emphasizing that. And of course, always do a patch test first to make sure your skin doesn't react badly.
Good advice. Just because something is from nature doesn't mean we can just go wild with it. Speaking of things we should be mindful of, I gotta say, that Medical News Today article on magnesium deficiency really surprised me.
It's one of those things that often flies under the radar, isn't it? But it's so important.
It's like a silent epidemic or something. And what's crazy is how many things could actually be linked to not having enough magnesium. Seriously, we're talking muscle aches, fatigue. I even saw headaches on that list.
Oh yeah, those tension headaches that always seem to pop up at the worst possible time. And get this, Medical News Today even connected magnesium deficiency to mood. It makes you wonder how much of our everyday stress could be helped just by getting enough of this one mineral.
Okay, you've convinced me. Time to stock up on magnesium. I'm picturing, like, spinach smoothies for every meal.
Well, thankfully, there are tastier ways to get your magnesium. Think almonds, avocados dyed, even dark chocolate. It's all about finding those little ways to treat your body right,
Okay, now you're speaking my language. Dark chocolate for health. I'm in.
But before we all go filling our shopping carts with all these natural remedies, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, bus safety. Medline Plus definitely didn't hold back when they talked about the potential downsides of some of this stuff. It's true.
Yeah.
Just because something is natural doesn't automatically make it safe, right? They really emphasize being an informed consumer doing your research.
For sure. And they had some pretty eye-opening examples of herbal remedies that can actually backfire, especially if they're used the wrong way. Things like, kava, St. John's wort, and
Yohibe, yeah, those were definitely cautionary tales.
It's a good reminder that even with natural remedies, we're still talking about our health here. Thorough research is key. This isn't the time to just wing it.
Absolutely. We're talking about empowering ourselves, not just blindly experimenting, right? And I think one of the most important things they stressed was talking to your doctor before trying anything new, especially if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, on medication, or about to have surgery.
So important. This isn't about dishing conventional medicine. It's about seeing how these natural remedies can work in tandem with it.
Exactly. And to make sure you're making good choices. Remember those certifications Medline Plus talked about? Like if you see USP verified or consumerlab.com approved on a supplement, it's gone through some serious testing for quality.
It's like a little stamp of approval. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of home remedies backed by science, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
I think it's this. The world of natural remedies is full of possibilities. There are so many powerful plants and ancient practices that can really, truly improve our well-being. But we got to approach it with both curiosity and caution. Do your research, talk to your doctor, don't take unnecessary risks, and never underestimate the power of what you can find in your own kitchen.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been such a fun exploration, and I hope it inspires you to keep learning and keep those home remedies brewing. Just remember to do your homework first. Until next time, everyone, stay curious.